What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. Originally, this was going to be a brand new episode of Pink Slips. It's already recorded. It's uploaded. I'm going to kick that down to Sunday. It's the AFC Championship game. It's a great game. And then tomorrow is going to be a rebuild. I don't know if it's going to... I'm leaning towards the Browns with Deshaun Watson right now. But either way, between Cleveland and the Houston Texans, it's got pushed up the priority queue for recording rebuilds. Like, I need a reason to want to record a rebuild right now. And those are two really exciting situations that, make me hype to kind of record a rebuild. At this point in time, it takes a lot to do that. So those are going to be coming sooner than later. One of those, at least, will be out tomorrow. But the saga, the drama is over. Deshaun Watson will not be a Philadelphia Eagle. He's gone to the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns have sent 3 first-round picks and then 2 additional picks to the Houston Texans. I will say, if I'm Houston, the fact that you weren't able to squeeze in Kareem Hunt on that deal, shame on you. I feel like that would have been... Like, you could have squeezed Cleveland, I think, for Kareem Hunt. And given your running back situation, given just straight up the Texans' lack of talent, the fact that you can get the best RB2, probably still a top 10 running back in the NFL, I would have done it. I would have done it. But the Browns are going to, hopefully, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of compensation they can get for Baker Mayfield. Like, they're probably not getting a first-round pick back, right? Like, do you guys think, what do you think the Browns are going to get for Baker Mayfield? I'm thinking at the top of my head, like a 2 or 3, and it's looking like he said he wants the Colts. I wouldn't be surprised anywhere. Now, I think every team's going to be scrambling to try to get Baker Mayfield. But the Colts is where he said he wanted to go. As we relate this to the Philadelphia Eagles at the quarterback spot, we can now act like this is hindsight. Like, if you told me, instead of Cleveland, Deshaun Watson went to Philadelphia for 3 first-round picks, 2 additional picks, and then Philly gave him, like, the second biggest contract in NFL history. Yeah, he's so much better than Jalen Hurts, but I think that's too much for me. I think, like, in hindsight, I would be like, dude, this is a gigantic gamble that I don't know if it's worth the risk for Philadelphia. All this stuff considered. So, I mean, from that, let's see what happens with the Browns. Let's see what happens with the Texans. Deshaun, that has fallen. What does that mean for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward? Well, we had news today that apparently, actually, there was something way down here earlier, not just to plug my Twitter. If you're not following my Twitter, throw me a follow there. But there was, like, some guy, like, a bunch of momentum that Honey Badger was in Philly, but that turned out to be false. Fletcher Cox is coming back. Juju Smith-Schuster right here. He was another player that some people really wanted in Philadelphia. I thought, he's a solid slot. He'd be interesting there. He went away to the Chiefs. And then following, essentially, if you want to view it this way, following Philly's inability to get Deshaun Watson, we're bringing the band back. We brought back Anthony Harris. We brought back Boston Scott. And I think, seeing all this news, it's fair for me to say this. Breaking news for the Philadelphia Eagles. My sources say that Philadelphia is very high on Alabama's Bryce Young, former Heisman Trophy winner. And their moves this offseason have been calculated to secure his services next offseason. Keep an eye on this space. Like, what are the Eagles doing, man? Hassan Reddick, niche edge rusher. That's an interesting signing. It's probably going to trend towards good. But as it stands right now, the fact that that's the only real piece of business the Philadelphia Eagles have done, I have no idea what the Eagles are doing this offseason. And I'm not saying this from a standpoint of like, Philly need to get Deshaun Watson. They need to get Marcus Williams. They need to get Christian Kirk, DJ Chark. They need to get Miles Jack. They need to get this and that, Devontae Campbell. We had to be realists. The fact that Philadelphia, like, what are we trying to build as a team here? Because there's 2 ways of looking at it. One is that, like, oh, man, we're sticking with Jalen Hurts for another year, and if he's good, he develops into a franchise quarterback, so be it. Or it's going to be growing pains, and we're going to have a high pick in 2023, and then we can reevaluate and get the quarterback there. Okay? So it's like if you're committing with Jalen Hurts for another year, and you're going to act on the side of optimistic that he's going to put it all together, then you need to be like, we're not there just quite yet, but like we're building the team to get there. And you don't really do that as much as I love Boston Scott, and as much as Anthony Harris, down here, he played better late in the season last year. You're still at a point where the guys that you're bringing back are Band-Aid players. They're 1-year contracts. They're not long-term. They're not guys you're going to bring in and redevelop and they're going to find a brand new role. These are guys that are Band-Aids. So you're throwing a bunch of Band-Aids on a team that doesn't really know where they're going next year. Like it's like that's fine, I guess. Like it's kind of directionless. Maybe and it's just everything's on the draft. Like we have insane draft assets. 3 first-round picks. We got to be aggressive with those 3 first-round picks. That's how I'm going to end the video. I'm going to explain that in just a second. But nothing about this offseason has any sense of urgency, any sense of aggressiveness that leads you to believe, like, what are we doing with those 3 first-round picks? Like, are we keeping them? Are we seriously keeping those 3? Are we going to trade them eventually? Are we waiting for the... is there going to be a trade to open up now that Deshaun Watson's been traded? Like, there's still some uncertainty there. But the only fact right now for the Philadelphia Eagles so far in this offseason is, like, we're putting all of our eggs in the basket of Howie Roseman and this draft capital. Because there's been, Marcus Williams gone. Jordan Whitehead's gone. Marcus May got signed. Justin Reed got signed at safety. So the upgrades at safeties are gone. The upgrades. Looks like we're going back to the status quo. Like, I'm sure Rodney McLeod's going to be an Eagle soon. Brought back Anthony Harris. Like, maybe we draft one. Second round, you could look at Scene. You could look at Jaquan Brisker. You could look at Jalen Petrie. Sure, maybe that happens. Again, you're hoping that guys fall to you at that point. Not a bold strategy, because how many times have we seen guys that we hope fall to Philadelphia? CeeDee Lamb, and it just doesn't happen, and then you're kind of screwed. But if that's what we're doing, then there's no linebackers. Miles Jack, nah, I didn't want him. Jordan Hicks, nah, I didn't want him. I mean, Kaiser White's still out there, but we're still just seeing the failed roster building strategies of not spending at safety, not spending at linebacker, just always building through the trenches. That hasn't worked for Philadelphia over the last couple of years. Since the Super Bowl, this whole build the trenches, all our assets go on the defensive line at pass rush. We still don't get enough pressure. We still don't get enough sacks. Hopefully Hassan Riddick changes that. But there was an optimism, a sense of optimism that this was going to be an offseason that we start to think outside the box. We start to understand that what we've been doing hasn't really been working, and it just seems like, especially with all the safeties going, we didn't get anything. We bring back Anthony Harris. We're kind of just going on the status quo that we've had before, and you want a sense of, like we're improving, not just going back to what we did last year. So then on top of that, it's like, what's the other side of just viewing this Eagles game plan? It's like, we made the playoffs last year. We were a playoff team. Not every team makes the playoffs. We were a playoff team last year. So why is it so hard, it seems like, for Philadelphia to attract free agents? We were a playoff team. You have guys going to the Jets. You have guys going to the Steelers. Miles Jack going to the Steelers. They don't have a quarterback. We made the playoffs last year. Why are we not getting in these guys? Are we unattractive to potential free agents? These guys don't want to play with Jalen Hurts. I'm not putting any of this blame on him. But is that the reason? Like, they don't trust our quarterback? But they're going to teams without quarterbacks. Maybe arguably almost conceivably worse quarterback situation. Like, we're not landing on these guys. It's a very, very confusing offseason. It's not hit the red button and it panic everything. There's still plenty of time. There's still some names out there. And, as much as you want to be like, we're not signing anybody, we have 3 first-round picks. But what are we going to do with those 3 first-round picks? Because, I'm late on my Eagles Dream offseason video, and I feel like how free agency has gone, just sitting here every day, refreshing, seeing all these guys that I think would be awesome additions to the Eagles go elsewhere for reasonable deals. It's just kind of been a bummer. So I was like, all right, let's do a mock draft. I'm going to load it up here. We got the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you guys, like, if we're not aggressive, if we're going to take the same approach that we had so far this free agency period of just like, we're not going to be aggressive. Like, do you see the names that are going to be available 15, 16, 19? Like, no blue chip players. No guys are going to make immediate impacts. Jordan Davis, that he could be the successor of Fletcher Cox. He's probably not going to be there. Jermaine Johnson, he could be an interesting pass rusher. He's not going to be there. Garrett Wilson, hell yeah, wide receiver. He's not going to be there. Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, corners, that corner 2 that we're screaming for on the other side of Darius Slay, they're not going to be there. There's not going to be a Trevon Walker. There's not going to be a Kyle Hamilton. All these guys at the S-tier positions that Philadelphia needs. We are going to sit here, and if we don't make an aggressive play to move up, and really, if I'm being honest with you, there's only 2 players that if we had to package 2 first-round picks to move up, or just any of our picks to move up, there's 1, there's 2. Those are the only 2 players I think I would even remotely consider trading up for at this point. And I say that as that's what I would do. I would prioritize trading up to secure the services of one of those 2 defensive backs. Because the names that are at 15, 16, and 19, from the standpoint of Philly's not improving these positions in free agency. So we need starters. Like Marcus Epps, Kevon Wallace at safety, that ain't going to cut it. Hoping another, year fucking 5 of development it feels like, of Davion Taylor. You got TJ Edwards, but there's we need at least 2 more linebackers. Like, who's going to be BG's successor? Taron Jackson? Like, it's not Hassan Reddick. He's going to be standing up as hybrid edge rusher. You know? Wide receiver. We going with Greg Ward in the slot? That's the only guy we've brought in so far. So we're going to go Devontae Smith, Greg Ward, Jalen Reagor, Quez Watt. Like, so you start to peel back as, like, if we're taking this passive approach that the Philadelphia Eagles have took so far in free agency into the draft, and we're just going to be like, we got 3 first-round picks, 15, 16, and 19. There ain't much there. Drake London. Can't get separation. Jameson Williams. Sure, deep threat. We don't need a deep threat. We do not need a deep threat. Our quarterback that we are so far committing to is not a deep ball quarterback. We need the route runner. So you look at like Olave or Burks. Even then, Burks, like somewhat of a limited route runner, even though I do think he's a good fit for the Eagles. I picked him in that 32 YouTuber mock draft. You know, again, are those guys going to be needle movers for the Eagles in the first round? Maybe, maybe not. Not a for sure thing because we're outside of the blue chip players. You know, you look at the defensive line. Devontae White, beast. He's also going to be like a 25-year-old rookie. Look at the edge rushers. Ajabo suffered an injury, and he's Hassan Reddick. Ajabo, in the Eagles scheme, would be that hybrid, I think. I'm pretty sure that's how they would use him. I wouldn't hate that pick, but it's still, like, he's a project player. That is the report on Ajabo. He's still learning the position. He's not going to be an impact playmaker year 1. We need impact playmakers because we've been so hesitant in free agency. Karlaftis, you know, again, would be like, okay, I guess, but is he a needle mover? Probably not right away. And that's just not necessarily a knock on Karlaftis. It's a knock on where we're going to be picking in the first round, like in the talent that's going to be available. You have Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean's not testing. A lot of red flags right now. Like, why isn't he? There's a reason why he's not testing. Let's just put it that way. Great player. Same with Devin Lloyd. I'd be happy with either one of those guys. It's just 90%. It's not 100% how he could just 100% buck his history of the last decade plus to be the Eagles general manager and get a linebacker. It's just probably not happening. You're Philly, like, hopefully Christian Harris or something like that's available in the second round. You look at corner. McDuffie's maybe if you think he could be like J.C. Jackson and play on the outside, but he's probably going to be a really good slot corner. We do not need a slot corner. We need someone that can play on the outside. Andrew Booth's not testing. Kyrie Elam, as much as I like him, that's not really a good value pick where it's at. You know, you trade back, sure, still could get him in the first round, but you're still not seeing that corner 2. The corner 2s are already off the board in Derek Stingley and in Sauce Gardner. Look at the safeties. Dax Hill, he's solid safety, but he's thing that he gets value is like he can play he can be either a slot or a safety. Don't really need that. That's Avonte Maddox. So you got Seen, Brisker. Those are not guys that you get in the first round. So all in all, it comes down to the fact that, like, you know, if the consolation, if it's C4, and I'm not trying to be overreacting. I'm just trying to lay out the facts and try to see both sides and come to a conclusion. Is if we're not being aggressive in free agency. And I mean, for every Christian Kirk where it's like, there's no way I'm paying him that amount of money. There's been reasonable deals. Like, again, Miles Jack, Jordan Hicks, Jordan Whitehead. Those are very reasonable upgrades for the Philadelphia Eagles. So if it's like we're not spending C4 because we have 3 first-round picks, like, if none of these teams want to do business, if none of these teams want to trade down, the names that are going to be available 15, 16, and 19, they're not filling these holes that we're not addressing in free agency. Like, the guys that you get 15, 16, 19, those are at best guys you ease in. Those are not game changers day 1. And to have 3 first-round picks, have that kind of S-tier draft capital, and to not acquire a blue-chip talent player, to not acquire a guy that absolutely is going to be a home run type player, you know, it's something to think about, I think. So I go back to all these moves saying, at this point, best case scenario with 15, 16, 19, how we've handled free agency, I think this is probably the best outcome when all is said and done. I'm not saying I'm down on the Eagles. I'm not saying next year's going to be a write-off. I'm not saying, and I've been very vocal, that it does appear that I'm very anti-Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't say I'm anti-Jalen Hurts. I just have him graded as close to his ceiling, and I think the Eagles can do better. I'm also in Crowby out in front of it, smiling if he proves me wrong. If Jalen Hurts dominates next year It doesn't have to be, S tier. It doesn't have to be all pro. If Jalen Hurts shows really good improvement and he proves he's the guy. I'm not taking this approach of like, oh, C4 is the Anna guy. I don't want to admit that I was wrong. I'm going to be embarrassed. I 100% hope that I'm proven. I 100% I look like an idiot right now in hindsight. This time next year, Jalen Hurts is firmly our franchise. I want him to be good. I just don't think he is. So, that being said, I think, all said and done, that's probably where I'm at with the Philadelphia Eagles. I want to hear what you guys think. Too long, didn't listen, click to the end of the video. I just think for how the Eagles offseason has been, they have to figure out something with the picks, and I don't think we could just stay at 15, 16, and 19. But what do you guys? I love to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. We'll be back tomorrow with a new rebuild, and then on Sunday with the AFC Championship game in Pink Slips. Thank you guys very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.